The strike on Foros has, for a whole day now, been surrounded by all sorts of rumors, conspiracy theories, and even some myths and outright lies. The fact that it happened has not yet been confirmed by the General Staff of the Armed Forces of Ukraine, but it has been confirmed by the Crimean Gauleiter Aksionov. He confirms the strike on the territory of the Foros Sanatorium, that is not on, rather on the territory of the settlement of Sanatorne. Yes, this is an approximate location, which is situated between the Tarletsky boarding house, the Foros Sanatorium Yalta, as well as the departmental dachas, which are located a bit higher up on the coast. That is, these are government buildings, and there was also a hint that they might have been affected. And by the way, among these buildings, it's possible that Putin's Dacha was affected. And jumping ahead, maybe not just one, but several of Putin's Dachas, because there are supposedly 8 of these government Dachas there. The 6th and 8th are said to possibly belong to Putin. Incidentally, this was reported by investigators from the Russian outlet Proact. They claim that between Foros and Yalta, there are 8 Dachas, and Putin occupies the 6th and 8th. Whether he was there, Putin? No, friends, he wasn't there, because today we saw him giving a speech and rattling his medium-range missiles in front of Washington. So Putin wasn't there, but someone who could have been there was Gauleiter Saldo. They rushed things a bit, of course. They were a bit too quick to bury this jerk, frankly, but his press secretary denied this good news, saying that at the moment of the Ukrainian drone strike on Foros, Saldo was in Moscow. So he was there on some of his own Gauleiter business, and unfortunately he wasn't taking part in the wild party that was probably happening at the venue called Foros Hall. Foros Hall is a trendy and popular place, and on September 21st, as you can see, there was an official announcement on their website that the Foros Hall restaurant would be closed for special service. And it was from here that rumors began to spread that possibly during the strike on Foros, this Foros Hall, this restaurant, could have been affected, and that some VIP guests might have been there. Among them could have been Saldo, as well as some high-ranking figures from the FSB of the Russian Federation. Well, Putin definitely wasn't there, but some generals could have been. By the way, this was reported by the Telegram channel Krymsky Viter. But, friends, why are people even saying that some generals might have been there? The thing is, the Foros Sanatorium has traditionally served, well, as an informal headquarters. An apartment, really. And intelligence agencies from all over the world know that very important FSB officers gather there, and they hold various celebrations, meetings, and so on. So it's quite likely that someone really could have been there. The information hasn't been made public yet, not even by the Gauleiters, Z-bloggers, and so on. On the contrary, they're starting to get a bit confused in their statements. We have photographic evidence that some kind of strike really did occur. And if you look at this photo, you'll see it was taken, look, from this point here. I've already shown this slide. Here, the photo was taken from this very spot. So in fact, what we can clearly observe here is that the smoke, which is visible in the scene, is actually not coming from anywhere near the Terletsky boarding house or from any area close to the Foros Sanatorium, as some might have initially thought or assumed. It's happening in the direction of these, let's say, government buildings and Putin's dachas. So it's a bit further away, just so that's clear. Here's another slide like this one. Now, OSINT specialists are currently helping us to identify the rocky outcrops in the Black Sea, which actually look extremely similar to the local terrain. I'm switching the slide back, which is located behind the Terletsky boarding house and accordingly relates more to those government dachas. So obviously, if such a strike took place, it was not aimed at the Foros Sanatorium. That's why it looks so ridiculous when Russian propaganda comes out with these kinds of stories. First footage after the nighttime attack by the AFU on Foros, or what the Terletsky school looks like after the nighttime attack by the AFU from the outside. And there are just unbelievable things there, completely defying all the laws of physics, gravity, and so on. The Vesti Krim correspondent was told that a drone flew straight through the school. Straight through. A drone flies straight through the school. Well, that's just, there's another gem which is more related to the Yalta occupation authorities, the Gauleiters. Here's what is written. We have Nina Pavlenko. There's such a so-called Gauleiter in Yalta, and she writes the following statement. Right now, 13 people have been admitted to the Yalta center. All of the victims have shrapnel wounds. They were on the shoreline of Foros at the time of the attack. These include our local residents, guests, and ambassadors. After that, it doesn't really matter. At the moment of the attack, they were on the shoreline. So, in fact, Yanina Pavlenko, the current Gauleiter of Yalta, has exposed herself. In this rather clumsy and awkward attempt to stir up fear and anxiety among the public, the thing is, if people were actually injured on the Yalta shoreline, it actually means that it was quite obviously Russian air defense at work. Russian air defense systems, in fact, wounded its own people. 13 people were injured, 12 of them were hospitalized, and 4 of those are in serious condition. You see, it's very interesting and even a bit ironic when this relentless propaganda machine tries to kick in, this persistent and tireless one, and it just does absolutely crazy, illogical, and nonsensical things. Now, So the obviousness of what happened and whether these could really have been Ukrainian drones, well, it's already clear that something did arrive. That's an absolute fact. And these photographs, these photo evidences prove it. Also, I don't know if this can be connected, but it seems to me that it should be. It's obvious that it needs to be connected. So the primary unit of the main intelligence directorate, this is the Ukrainian main intelligence directorate, and this was confirmed by the general staff today, took out in the past 2 days, a total of 4 Mi-8 helicopters, which are operated by the Russian Federation, have successfully taken out the NABO radar system. And in addition to that, they have also managed to take down a B-12 aircraft. This particular aircraft is an amphibious type, which means it is capable of operating both on land and on water. And it is specifically used by the Russian Federation for the purpose of detecting submarines. This event is actually a truly historic moment because for the very first time in recorded history, someone has managed to take down an amphibious aircraft of this kind. And why did this happen? Right now, there are some assumptions. I read some analysis from our Ukrainian military observers that this aircraft was probably on a combat mission to test its ability to detect Ukrainian Taloka underwater drones. And most likely something went wrong, and this aircraft, in fact, failed its mission and was taken out. But that's wonderful. Today, 2 videos also appeared. One of them belongs to the Her Primary unit, showing the destruction of a Mi-8 helicopter. And there is also a video taken after the strike, apparently filmed by the occupying soldiers. We can take a look. What, the helicopter? It's intact. It's lying there. The fuselage is in Yeriva, and there's the fuselage. It's fine. Basically, it was a good hit. So we're basically waiting for confirmation from the Ukrainian general staff and holding off on congratulations for the next targets hit by the Gurpramari unit. But I have practically no doubt that this is precisely the continuation of the work of this absolutely effective unit, which is operating in annexed Crimea today. So beware Putin's Dacha number 6-8, as well as numbers 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, and 7.